Can we just talk about how rare this Justin Fields situation is? Can we do that? Because when I tell you guys the facts around it of how everything is kind of lining up and we're here at this point, it's mind-boggling. So let's do that. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, NFL, here to talk about the Chicago Bears and here to talk about how rare this situation is that we're here at this point talking about, Justin Fields no longer potentially being the quarterback of this team, us drafting a quarterback with the #1 overall pick, presumably Caleb Williams, and just how rare it is. And I know some of you guys might be sick of talking about this. I'm not, but still, you got to just get used to it because I'm telling you, this is the biggest topic up until we make a decision at the draft. All right, let's just talk about how rare this is. All right, I got 5 points for you guys. 5 simple points to point out the rare decision here. So we are talking about the Chicago Bears having Justin Fields, and in any other kind of scenario, we are 100% or even 1,000% if you want to go there, keeping this kid and building around him. I have been on record saying that I think he could be is a poor man's Jalen Hurts, and I've been mocked, ridiculed for it, whatever you want to say. But I legitimately thought or think that we could have had a Eagles 2022 type situation here where, hey, you have that similar style quarterback, just build a super team around the kid, man, and just watch what happens. All right, watch what happens. And here we are in 2024, right? And we're talking about him potentially no longer being the quarterback. How did we get here? We got here in 5 different ways, as I mentioned, that I was going to get to. The first one is the Chicago Bears getting the #1 overall pick, not just for the first time, the second year in a row. And the second year in a row while being a 7-10 team. That is extremely rare. In the NFL, there's no lottery, right? You get the first pick if you have the worst record. Well, guess what? The Chicago Bears were a fringe playoff team. They finished 7-10. They didn't even have close to the worst record. So how'd they get the #1 pick? Obviously with the trade with the Panthers. Where they had the #1 pick last year, they traded down and got the Panthers pick for this year, which ended up being the #1 pick. That is extremely rare. I don't even know if there's instances in NFL history. I'll be honest, I haven't looked it up, but that has got to be a very rare instance where a team that's, again, a fringe playoff team gets the #1 overall pick. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, when you do get the #1 overall pick, it ends up being a generational draft class. Now, you guys might have your opinions on these quarterbacks and think none of them are good or none of them are generational, but I'm just going by what the analysts, what the experts, what the draft gurus are saying about this draft class, right? With Caleb Williams being called generational, Drake May touted as being very good, Jaden Daniels, the list goes on. And this wasn't the case last year when the Bears had the #1 overall pick. That's why they traded down. And so they definitely could have been a scenario where the Bears trade down again, right? Because, hey, it's not a generational draft class. So we could do it again. But, hey, no, it is. And if you miss out on one of these guys and they turn out to be absolute stud, you're fired. Especially Caleb Williams. I'm just saying, that could be the narrative, okay? So the second thing being, you get the #1 pick, but then now it's a generational draft class where it's not easy to just pass up on it. All right? And the third point kind of goes with the second one is you traded the one last year. That was the right decision. That was the good decision to do that because you got DJ Moore, you got this year's first, you got a bunch of other assets. But now, if you do it again, because last year, CJ Stroud got passed up on, but people won't tell you, everyone had Bryce Young as the #1 pick. So that's who probably the Bears would have taken if they did take a quarterback, not CJ Stroud. But let's just say, hey, for benefit of the doubt, they should have taken CJ Stroud. You pass up on CJ, and now this year you're going to pass up on Caleb? Really? 2 years in a row you're going to pass up on the #1 overall pick? One time is okay. Twice, now you got some reservations. All right, so that's the third thing, is you traded the one last year. Can you really do it again and pass up on a franchise quarterback? Point number 4, the offensive coordinator getting fired. Look, folks, I know Justin didn't have a great year, definitely had some ups and downs, but I promise you, if the coaching staff was still there or they developed him properly, and he doesn't even need to be a top 5 quarterback. If Justin was just a above average starter, and I believe he is, in terms of just, the talent that he has, certainly the talent to be an above average starter, but I'm just saying the production hasn't been there. It's been average. If he just gave you that above average starter production, even breaking against some minuscule Bears records like 3,000 passing yards, 4,000 passing yards, and, obviously the 30 touchdowns. And these aren't amazing accomplishments, folks, because I'm telling you, every year we have so many quarterbacks to do this. But I'm saying if Justin just gave you that above average production, you probably wouldn't have a coaching staff getting fired, the offensive coordinator, and you probably keep Justin. So that also played a part into it, because it's like, hey, if he developed decently, you probably are trading the pick for a haul and kind of building around him, right? Like, take a look at Jared Goff. I'd say that's above average production right there, right? The Lions almost went to the Super Bowl, got to the NFC Championship. And if the Lions had the number 1 pick, they probably are trading that pick, right? Maybe they're taking Caleb, who knows? But my point is, I think they probably are trading it. So, like, that above average production, if that was there, coaching staff doesn't get fired, and now you probably are keeping the quarterback. But the OC does get fired, and that was the right move, because Luke Getsy was incompetent, and you're back to the decision with the quarterback. Who was it? Was it Justin or was it Luke? It's the chicken or the egg argument. I think it was more Luke than Justin, but I digress. That's number 4. The coaches and the offensive coordinator getting fired. And finally, number 5, the biggest point of them all, Justin Fields going into year 4, where you have to make a decision on his 5th-year option. This is the most underrated one of them all, because this is where the general manager is looking at this decision and saying, yeah, to me, this is what I'm looking at. Because if Justin was in year 2, year 3, where I didn't have to make this decision, maybe I keep him because I got time. This time I don't got time, because I got to make a decision on his 5th-year option, and I got to decide if I want to pay the kid. And if I pay the kid, he doesn't turn out great, then I passed up on a kid that could have been really good and would have been on a rookie deal for 4 years, and I could have built around him. So it's literally insane to think about all of these things happening at the same time. All of these things. Bears getting the number 1 pick as a 7-10 team. This being a generational draft class. Them already trading the number 1 pick last year. The coaches getting fired, the offensive coaches, and Justin Fields being in the decision time for his 5th-year option. Think about how rare that is. All 5 of those things happening at the same time, and we are still debating here if it is the right move to move on from this kid. I feel like I'm like every Bears fan with Justin. It's like we look at the production. The stats aren't great at all, man. Mitch Trubisky put up better stats, but we see something special in the kid. We do. And so it's so hard to let go. And I'm just like, when Mitch was done here, we were done with him. And we ended up being right. Like, Mitch, again, cannot play the quarterback position. But it's like with Justin, we just know if this kid gets the right coach and he goes somewhere else, he's just going to turn out to be special. And we're just going to be like, yep, we knew it. But we're in the spot where, again, you shouldn't be complaining because your team has the number 1 pick. But man, oh man, like, you have to move on from the kid because of all of the reasons I just mentioned. So it is so interesting that we're at this spot, but I thought I just wanted to point it out to you guys. Let me know what you guys think, man, of how rare this whole situation is about the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. But yeah, let's see how it turns out, but just wanted to share that with you guys. So thoughts down below as always.